Hello everyone, welcome to our channel. Usually I make videos in Hindi because this channel is based to the audience which speaks Hindi, towards audience in India. However, I believe that today there was actually a need to make another video in English. So I've already made a video in Hindi. I'm just making another one in English. So I just came across a tweet which is going on trending news across Canada right now by Joanna Chiu. I hope I'm pronouncing her name right. So she's a journalist based out of Vancouver, and she wrote out a piece. It's right in front of me. Should Canada try to forge closer ties with India? Experts are saying you cannot ignore the rise of Hindu nationalism and the steep decline of civil rights in the country. So basically her argument is that India, obviously because it's the largest democracy in the world and second largest market after China, so obviously it would be natural for Canada and India to become natural allies. So she has basically, I was reading her tweet and one of the line in an article as well, that it took her 1 year to study Indian politics and danger of Hindu nationalism. So I was very excited to see, wow, because even though I've been living in Canada for the last 10 years, I've been very connected to India. I go there at least twice every year and have spent 8 months, 9 months in 2018, 2019, 16. So even though I'm in Canada right now, but I'm pretty much in touch with what's going on in India and Indian politics. So this lady just researched for 1 year. So let's see what she has written. So she has written basically that Canadian public is ignorant about what's happening in India. And of course, Canadian public would be ignorant, as I'll be ignorant about what's happening in Sweden, what's happening in Norway, what's happening in Australia, for instance, because I don't live there. I have enough problems of my own and I don't have enough time. Same with Canada. Canada is not a perfect country. People are struggling here. Canada has a lot of problem of its own and people don't have time to, and especially India is not a threat. They know they meet so many Hindus, Sikh, Christian, Muslims of India. We are nice regular people who do our job, follow rules, want to immigrate here, have a nice life. Maybe we are a little ambitious, but definitely not a threat to Canadian. So they don't pay attention. So she has written basically how Canadian PM spoke about peaceful protester. So I don't see anything wrong with that. A lot of Indians have problems that why Justin Trudeau has been making statements about India and all those things. So obviously there is a lot of Indian population living in Canada, and we have our relatives, our family members living in India. And if someone is telling him that, okay, this protest is going on and my relatives were beaten or they were thrown water cannon in the winters and they should be allowed to peaceful protest. So I don't see anything wrong with that. Even Indian government allows that. I think India is one of the very few country which let people of the country to protest wherever they want. They have blocked highways. They have created so much inconvenience to the public. But India is a democracy and everybody has right to peacefully protest. So those people have been raising anti-Hindu slogans, anti-Indian slogans. They have been blocking roads and highway. However, India and Indian government is still tolerant about those people. So she has tried to, make the narrative from the present and just to be relevant. So I was actually on her Twitter and she's getting a lot of retweets and a lot of loves and a lot of replies. So it's really good for her because all the pieces which she written in past did not get so much traction. And I think by replying to her propagandist article, I will be doing the same. But let's go on further. So she has talked about farmer protests. She didn't go into the details of farmer protests. She did not go into the details of how Canadian government is hypocrite because they were basically forcing India in World Trade Organizations along with other countries to amend bills and laws and make market more fair for their companies and other companies to compete and maybe it will be a good for Canadian economy or world economy. So India now did that. So, but again, I don't believe that Justin Trudeau has done anything wrong. He just basically said that, he believes in right of people to protest peacefully in a democracy. Moving on again, how can anyone who is writing a propaganda against India miss Muslims? So now she's back at it. Law against Muslims and Article 370. So basically she's saying that how Indian government did injustice and they revoked Article 370. So people who don't know about Article 370 is basically like we have another province in Canada where Catholic people or indigenous people, or there's one particular community only they can live there. Other faiths cannot live there, cannot own property. And if the person from that province marries someone else, then she loses her right to own a property. People of lower caste doesn't have rights. People from other provinces cannot buy properties there. So basically we believe in global village now, that we are all same and equal and there should be freedom of movement and all that. So Indian government just basically did that and she has problem with that. I mean, I don't get it. So many people in India, actually all Hindus were kicked out of Kashmir in 1990, 30 years ago. And that was the only genocide which took place in India. There were violence against Muslims in 2002. There were violence against Sikhs in 1984. However, you cannot call it a genocide because still Sikhs are living all across India. In Delhi, they have businesses. They can go to schools, they can own properties, they can do whatever they want. Same with Muslims. Muslim can own properties. In Gujarat, they are living there peacefully now. Whatever happened in 2002 was bad, but they are doing businesses, going on with their life. It's not a genocide. However, in Kashmir, ever since 1990, Kashmiri Hindus cannot dare to go there because they know they'll be killed. 500,000 people were thrown out, they were terrorized, their women were raped, they were killed. It was the only genocide which happened in India, and it happened against Hindus. And she's basically trying to set the narrative against Hindu nationalism and Hindu superiority. So I don't see the superiority where you can't even live in your home, which has been your home for thousands of years, and you suddenly get kicked out and genocide happens. I don't see that as a superiority. So basically, then again, she's moving on and she's talking about how Modi and Trump relations, she's playing that trick where she's equating Trump to Modi. Trump is disliked among a lot of people who are especially left-leaning liberals. So she's basically equating them, that the reason why US did not do anything was because of close relation between Trump and Modi. And she's hoping that the new government under Biden and Kamala Harris next year will be taking some action against that. So now, because she did 1 year research about India and Hindu nationalism, so she's teaching us what is Hindu nationalism. So according to her, Hindu nationalism is a political ideology superiority of Hindus and wants Hindu culture to be cornerstone of India. What is Hindu culture? Hindu culture doesn't believe in blasphemy. Hindu culture doesn't believe in oneness of God, that only my God is right. Hindus, you can find them in church, in Sikh temple, in Muslim mosques, in every temple of Hindus, Jain, Buddhist, everywhere, even atheist. Hindu ideology is not like an Abrahamic ideology. And she's talking about superiority. Most of you who don't know about India and history of India, India was under invasion and imperialism for 1,000 years. For almost 700-800 years, Muslim invaders, they killed Indians, they forcefully converted them, they raped their women, took their properties, destroyed their place of worship. They even Hindus even had to pay tax. If they want to remain Hindus, they had to pay extra tax. That is not a superiority. Then again, we were under British rule. It is not a superiority. In fact, most of you who don't know, Hindu religion, Hindu boards and Hindu temples and trusts are the only ones which are taxed and controlled by government of India. So if you're a Sikh, you're a Muslim, you're a Christian, it's independent. You don't get taxed. There's no control of government on it. But Hindus still get controlled by India. And in India, we have had a woman who was of Catholic origin, an Italian woman, a Sikh person, was a prime minister. So it's not a superior country. We have been very, very, very tolerant. Yes, it's not an ideal place. You cannot say that it's a first world country. It's as vibrant as Sweden, Norway, or even Canada. No, it's not perfect. But to say about Hindu superiority is stupidity. It is not based on Christian faith, which has almost 45-50% of population. It is not like Islamic countries, which are 57 in number, where you cannot buy property, you cannot get citizenship, you cannot marry someone of other faith. Those are the things doesn't apply to India. India is a secular country, and inherently Hindus are very tolerant, but she is trying to project all the Hindus and Indians who love India as somehow racist and bad people. Then she goes back to 1947, how Hindu nationalism was influential in 1947. I don't understand how it was influential, because in 1947, India was divided on the basis of religion. Muslims got not one but two countries. Basically, it was one country, but yeah, one on the other side and one on the west and one on east. East Pakistan, which was Bangladesh, and West Pakistan, which is present-day Pakistan right now. Hindus did not get a Hindu state. If they had any influence, then there will be a Hindu state, just like how there are two states carved out of India, Bangladesh, which is Islamic Republic of Bangladesh, and Islamic Republic of Pakistan. So she probably didn't do her homework very well. Then she's going to Gandhi, how Gandhi was accommodating and assassinated. This woman doesn't know that because of Gandhi, millions of people died in India. The partition happened because of him. His mismanagement, his tactics of blackmail, the way basically he did so many things and wrong things. People were not happy. I can actually write a book about Gandhi, and a lot of people who are critic of Gandhi. Obviously, we do not support violence, but Gandhi was not as popular leader as people think him to be. He was also racist against black people. He was also bigoted. He wrote a lot of racist bad things in his native language, Gujarati, but when he spoke English, he spoke something else. Again, that person who killed him was, they say he was a Hindu terrorist, even though they say terrorism has no religion. But yeah, one person killed Gandhi, so suddenly you paint the whole religion and organization as a terrorist. Good job. Then Veer Savarkar, she quoted again that he said Muslims are a bigger threat to India than British, and he was right. British did rule India. However, British reformed India of ill practices. British did bring secularism to India. They did bring technology. However, Muslim invaders were very brutal. They killed people in millions, and we still have scars of that. On our places of worship, they built their own mosques, and it's been very well documented how they used to sell women of India, how they used to rape them, and how people had to pay taxes to be Hindu. So the injustice and the scars of Muslim invasion and imperialism are still in our hearts, still in the hearts of Hindus. 1947 wasn't very long back. We know that India was divided because only one community wanted a separate country. Sikhs did not want a separate country. Christians did not want a separate country. Same with Buddhists, Jains, no, not even Hindus. And to get their own country, they killed 1 to 2 million people in 1947. I don't know what kind of research she has done. It's very easily available. Even in 1971, when Bangladesh was made, Pakistani army, Muslim army, they killed almost 1 million Hindus. They used to be 30% of them in 1947. Now it's less than 11-12%. 1 million people. It can be well documented. It is well documented. You can still find documentaries how women were raped. How people, they used to look at their genitals, like, okay, if this person is circumcised, it's okay. If he's not circumcised, he's definitely Hindu, kill him. That's how they ethnically cleansed people. He doesn't mention that. And again, she's saying like how people were, they were inspired by Hitler and Mussolini. Hitler and Mussolini, especially Hitler in 1930s, 40s, in 1930s and 40s, he was a darling of media. He was, at one time, he was Time Person of the Year. And he was well loved by American media, by European media, even Queen Elizabeth. You can see when she was 14, 15 years of age, in 1930s, 40s, she's doing Heil Hitler. She was a kid. She knew that he's popular and that's what people do to Hitler. He's a leader. She was doing the same. So will you say that she's also racist and bigot? She also believes in Nazism? No. At that time, people had very little knowledge about Nazis. They had no idea that they'll be killing millions of Jews and will be the reason why 100 million, 200 million people will be dying in World War II. People had no idea, but to use those things, those facts, to have a propaganda and to set the narrative, I'm just telling you all the facts and things you can go and cross-check. And then again, he's saying that India is against Christians and Muslims. You Google Peace TV, you Google any Christian TV in India, you will see how free Christian missionaries are, how free Muslim tabligis are. They are open, they say bad things about Hindu faith, they mock Hindu religion, Hindu goddess. Openly they convert them out of lie, deception, they pay them bribe. Everything is allowed in India. Only a tolerant country can do that. But this lady is again trying to project, and if you are talking about Modi in India, how can you forget 2002 Muslim riots? So she says 2,000 Muslims were dead, which is factually wrong. 1,000 people were dead. In that, 790 were Muslims, 254 were Hindus. So basically 75% were Muslims, 25% was Hindu. How is it a Muslim only dying? Hindus were 88% of Gujarat in 2002. Muslims were almost 11 to 12%. 11 to 12% killed 25% people. Who was more violent? Who was more aggressive? This woman probably doesn't understand math and definitely disregard all the statistics, which goes against her narrative. It was a bad riot. However, you cannot say that it was a Muslim riot. In terms of percentage, more Hindus were killed in 2002 as compared to Muslims. And hats off to Modi government, hats off to BJP government. Gujarat, which was well known for riots every year, hasn't seen a single riot after 2002. After 2002, it is the most peaceful it has ever been, ever since the independence of India. Then she talks about human rights violation under Modi, no freedom of press. I don't understand what is freedom of press. If you go to any channel like NDTV, for example, it's also an English channel. You can see day and night propaganda against, not propaganda, I would say like critique of Modi, which is allowed. A lot of various other channels. There is freedom of press, and I welcome her, even though she has written this hit piece of propaganda. She can go to India. No one will say anything. She won't get arrested. India is not China. BJP is not Communist Party of China. Now she comes to mob lynching. So we know there have been a lot of stories about lynching in India, where a person who has committed a crime, obviously India is not a perfect state. People do take crime into their hands and law into their hands. And when they see someone has done wrong, instead of going to the police or law, people, just prosecute people, which is wrong. However, she completely ignores the fact that even though Hindus are a majority, a lot of Hindu priests have been killed in India in the last couple of years. You see those two sages who were killed in Maharashtra. Their murder is caught on camera. You can find it on internet as well. Two sages killed, Hindu sages killed in India. You can see how Muslim mob has killed them. You can see Kamlesh Tiwari, the person who criticized Islam, got killed in the daylight. There are a lot of people who are getting killed, Hindus as well. So it's a law and order situation. Just to say that Muslims are getting lynched is completely wrong. If I take those things into consideration, more Hindus are getting lynched by Muslims. Then can we say that India is an Islamic state? No, it's a law and order situation. But this woman is basically using all these facts and news for her narrative, because she knows probably not everybody has time to research, not everybody has time to go on and hear about the other perspective and research. And then she talks about CAA Act. CAA Act was one of the best thing which BJP has done. Is basically to let persecuted minorities who are already in India get fast-track citizenship. Persecution means when you are being persecuted because of your religion. We know Afghanistan, Pakistan and Bangladesh, they are not ideal country. There is law and order situation. However, Muslims are never persecuted because of following their faith. Never. Every day we see Hindu women are getting kidnapped. They're forcibly being converted. People are getting killed because they are suspect of blasphemy. We can see the statistics, like how many number of Hindus and Sikhs used to live in Pakistan, Afghanistan, and the number right now, even in Bangladesh, the situation is very dismal. We looked just a couple of weeks back when some Hindus of Bangladesh posted some thing on social media in solidarity with France, how their homes were destroyed and how there was violence against that. Those kind of people need protection. They need protection. We need to protect the vulnerable people. And those countries, Bangladesh, Afghanistan and Pakistan, were created because on the name of religion, on the name of Islam. So we need to protect the minorities over there. Situation is really bad. If you do a little bit of research and just look at the news, look at the statistics, you will know. And you cannot say that the government of India is against Muslims, because they also kept outside people of Sri Lanka, so Tamilian Hindus, who were, there was a lot of violence and basically almost genocide which took place against them in Sri Lanka. However, now situation is very calm over there. There is no, they don't have any threat from Sri Lankan government or other terrorist group over there. So those people are also, even though they were Hindus and they did get a refuge in India in past, but their name is also outside. So just saying that this law is against Muslims is totally wrong. We have seen in Canada how people of Syria, how people of Lebanon, how people of Middle Eastern countries, they come here and they get refugee status right away. Now, if you take into consideration someone from Nepal, someone from India claiming that, okay, I also want refugee status, Canadian government will not going to give them refugee status. No. They will say, okay, immigration, there is immigration for you. There is a proper way. You come to our country, that is open, but refugee status is only for people who are vulnerable, who are actually facing violence in their lives. Hindus of Nepal and India are not facing violence. Same thing India did. Immigration to Muslim is not banned. They can come. It's just that the persecuted people before 2014 who are already in India, they get fast-track citizenship. And there's not even a single Muslim who came to India because of religious persecution from Pakistan, Afghanistan and Bangladesh. So they have totally cherry-picked some points and started their propaganda. The people which she's quoting, Gurpreet Singh, that and she mentioned that incident which happened in University of British Columbia, where people just were really angry that you are, showing false narrative, false stories, and just, doing propaganda. And there was some heated debate with Gurpreet Singh, who is a very well-known propagandist. I don't know if he gets money from Communist Party of China or ISI Pakistan, or he just do it out of hobby, that he hates Hindu and India and Modi so much. His magazine, straight out propaganda. If you read that, you will see, oh my God, this is worse than what is happening in Xinjiang in China against Uyghur Muslims, or what happened to Jews in the 1940s under Hitler. So you will think something like that is happening if you start reading his magazine. And this guy is very well-known Hindu hater. And just look at what he writes and his ideology, you will know. This guy is actually, these are the people who don't even acknowledge that people are getting persecuted in Pakistan because of their religion. So if they can't even acknowledge, just see how much hatred they have for a certain section of people. NRC, and NRC is basically which is to determine who is Indian and not. It's basically an ID system. Now, India, we all know, is a country of 1.3 billion, which is a very small landmass. We have very limited resources in India. It's not like Canada, which is a vast country which can just open its door for immigration. However, even in Canada, you cannot come illegally. You have to take visa. You have to apply for visa. This is a country where even our parents, grandparents, even our spouses cannot come to Canada without visa. Very well known fact. We know everyone, all us immigrants. We know how visas get rejected because there is no travel history. You don't have strong ties with your country. And this is a woman who lives in Canada and teaching India, like, just open its door towards immigrants. Why? Then if India is a racist, if India is a fascist state, then so is Canada, so is America, so is every other country which deports people who don't have a legal status in their own country. So I don't understand why she's doing that. Is she an idiot, or she doesn't understand how world works and visa status and everything? No country can allow and just open its door for people to live in there. And that's what India has been doing. They should have done that in past, but they are trying to do it now. They haven't started doing that. So let's see what happens. Then she again is criticizing Canada that it's not taking stance on Kashmir. Canada is a liberal country which believes in equal rights, gender rights, and property rights, and freedom of movement, freedom of religion. That's what Indian government has done by revoking special status of Jammu and Kashmir, and it should be applauded. But she wants Canadian government to speak against that. And she's basically saying how there is a space for Hindu nationalists. So there's not a space. She's basically mentioning those incidents where Indians in past couple of years, whenever they saw that in Canada there's a lot of anti-India protest, anti-India narrative is going on, anti-India propaganda is going on. So now the number of Hindus is increasing in Canada because of immigration based on merit. A lot of Hindus are immigrating to Canada. And when they see that, okay, this false narrative, this propaganda is going on against my motherland, they are obviously going to speak up. And if you will not let them speak, if you will not give them space, the struggle is going to happen. It's not that anyone has done any violence, anyone has ever threatened anyone. There have been some heated debate against Gurpreet Singh, who is a well-known propagandist and Hindu hater. But other than that, nothing sort of like that happened. These kind of heated arguments we have seen happen in right wing and left wing in Canada, US, against people who are for LGBTQ rights, against people who are pro women rights, and against people who are fighting for feminism rights and all that. So this happens in a healthy democracy, but she's threatened and she's concerned. And again, at last she writes, what is disturbing is that many people accept the simplistic narrative of India as a large democracy and natural ally to US Canada. So basically, she doesn't want India and Canada to have a good relation. She wants them to fight, even though there is a very high number of immigrants moving to Canada. But she's not happy that that India and Canada, should have a close relationship. According to her, India also maybe should try to interfere in Canadian matters wherever it is, like their treatment of people who are struggling through drug abuse, indigenous women. Canada has a very, very dark history of human rights violation. If we compare India to Canada, I think India doesn't stand a chance if you look at Canadian history. However, that's what sovereign democracies do. They don't interfere in each other's internal matters unless there is a genocide. And if she's talking about genocide, the only genocide which took place was in Kashmir against Hindus. But because Hindus were at the receiving end, she somehow twisted. These kind of journalists, they just forget what happened in 1980s and 90s and the constant violence which made 500,000 Hindus leave their place of birth, leave the place where their ancestors were living for thousands of years. So they completely ignore genocide of Hindus in Kashmir and cherry pick incidents here and there and setting up the narrative. I know this article is getting very popular. A lot of people are retweeting it. A lot of people are also arguing it against it. I tried in this video to make you all aware. It can be a very, very long video. It's already a long video. So I also tweeted her that maybe I would like to have an interview with her and just ask her what kind of facts and research she did for 1 year. Like, even a high school graduate can do a better research than that. But this woman is obviously biased. We know these people have nexus in universities, in places of influence, in media. They cherry pick things, and they have decided that only Muslims are victims, Hindus cannot be victims, and that's the narrative they are trying to sell. And I request you all people to don't ignore this. I know people of India, especially of Hindu background, they don't indulge in politics, and they are usually scared to be called racist. They are scared to lose their jobs, business. However, you need to speak up, you need to speak for truth. Otherwise, there will be a lot of hate crimes which are going to happen to your kids, to you, to your parents, grandparents. We need to speak up, we need to have a healthy dialogue, and we should not let people like this, Joanna, Chiu, get away with writing such a disgusting article like that, full of propaganda. That's it for today. Bye.